welcome to my story sharing project. I started this project so I could hopefully share some good news and bring some levity to our situation that we're having with all our isolation and social distancing, all the news that we're getting every day, bombarded with different statistics and hard to hear news sometimes. So I'm just reaching out to my community, and hopefully I can grow that community and bring some good news to it. So today I have asked my friend, and she was also my teacher at massage school, Amber. Lots of fun, and absolutely somebody that I wouldn't have made it through school without her. I know that. She was really an excellent teacher, and she's a science nerd, so that was good. But she's also a mom of young children, and she's now chosen to not be teaching, and she's working for a family business. So she's one of our guests that we have that's actually out there in the workforce as an essential service. And so we just have some different conversation, I think, to have today. So welcome, Amber. Thank you for doing this project with me. If you'd like to just take an opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself, more than I just did, and how this has been affecting you and your family, both at home and with work.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me to be part of your story sharing project. I've been following along with it on your Facebook page and on watching your videos on YouTube, and it's really neat to hear kind of everybody's perspective on how it's affecting them and the positive things that everyone's taking away from it as well. So, like you said, I am a mom of three, and so with my husband and myself, we have right now an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a soon to be 3-year-old. And we're both currently working. My husband works every other day right now, just so that they could cut down on the amount of guys in the shop at one time. And I'm still working full time every day, and sometimes going in on Saturday because we're so busy just to stay caught up right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you do facilitate some businesses that are working in the medical area, I guess, and also I think you were saying with the pumps and such for the hand sanitizers. So I guess that's why your business has been deemed essential.
Yeah, so we have a couple of customers who are essential businesses because they are either medical or healthcare related, and we supply parts to them, or we make some of their components for what they're selling. So we are deemed an essential supplier for them. So our business, where most people's businesses has kind of drove down right now, we've kind of gone the other way, and we're a little bit busier than we were, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Which is good in one aspect and tricky in another aspect, because you get employees who are, from an HR perspective, some employees are very excited to still have their full-time job and probably directly know people who have been affected by not being able to work right now. But then you get other employees who are just really terrified to come to work right now because they're scared of bringing anything home to their families or picking up anything along the way. So there's a tricky balance, right, between we need to work, but we also need to make sure our employees feel safe to come to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, the balancing of having kids at home, because they're not at school, obviously, and there's more tasks for families to homeschool in a way, even though they're at public schools to do things. So that must be difficult as well.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably my biggest stressor. There was maybe the first week where they announced that they weren't going to open the schools again after March break, where I had a couple of days that I just kind of shut down mentally because I couldn't fathom where was going to be the safest place to put our kids, because I knew that it was not going to be a reality that we were going to be off work. So if we're going to still be working, as parents, what's the safest spot for our kids? Normally, we have a lot of family that help us with our kids. And we're very blessed for that. But my mom's an RN. The kids can't go near her right now because she works on the front lines. So it became really stressful to figure out what we were going to do with them and what was going to be the safest spot to have them.
Right, right. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in that position now and trying to figure that out. because I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of us that are at home not able to work, but there's sure a lot of people still out there working through this
Yeah.
thing.
And it's really was stressful to figure out, like, how do I work until 4 o'clock every day, come home, get everybody situated, get supper on the table, and then after supper, ask my kids to start their school day. And how do you make it so they don't fall behind and you still get caught up or keep up on the schoolwork so that they don't kind of lose this time, right? Or fall below what the kids who have parents who are home and able to do it might be able to accomplish during this time. So
Right.
that was really hard for me mentally to think about how were my kids going to suffer because I wasn't going to be home to be able to spend this time with them and teach them properly.
Hmm. And what
Mhm.
about, of course, you two would also have the fear of bringing virus home and infecting your kids. Are you doing any extra measures to try and stop that from happening, I guess? Are you back? I think we lagged out there.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Okay.
So in the beginning, like the first couple of weeks, I was really panicked. Like I would go to the grocery store, feel like, how do I not have a panic attack while I'm here? And then get home and put my coat and all the clothes that I was wearing straight into the washing machine.
Yeah.
I watched a really good YouTube video. His name was Dr. David Price, and he was an ICU doctor in New York City. And
Okay.
his was very calming, and he's definitely on the front lines. And after watching that video, I've toned it down a little. I'm a little less panicked, a little more calm. Now we're just only one of us goes to the store, my husband or myself. We only go when we need a lot of things. So, if you wanted to make one recipe for supper and you're out of something, like we're not running to the store to grab that ingredient, right? We're only going if we need a big grocery shop and when we've eaten through the bulk of what's in our house, just to kind of cut down on any exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler's been doing the grocery shopping so that, again, it's just one of us going into the store consistently, and just lots of extra hand washing and sanitizing and keeping the sanitizers in our car so that you can sanitize as soon as you're done touching the grocery cart before you start your car so that you're not transferring those germs again, and
Right.
just whatever we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's certainly a different world right
Mhm.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the kids are adjusting to not being able to play with the neighbors and their family and their cousins. Like their cousins live in our backyards are attached, and the neighbors right next door have two kids their age, and they're used to just going outside and playing. And so it's really hard to instruct them, like, just because they're outside doesn't mean that we can now go outside and play like normal. Like
Right.
we'll wait till they go inside and then we'll go have our outside time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
much different
Well,
life.
hopefully we can get this sort of under control quicker than longer, so
Yeah.
we can have some sort of normalcy at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I am really thankful that at least we're coming into the spring and we're not just coming into winter. That would have been a lot
Hmm.
harder. So we can at least get outside and get some fresh air, and it's good for our
Yeah,
mind as well, right? Just to
I
have that.
agree that in the first couple of weeks, especially when I was feeling like overwhelmed by all the changes, if we were having supper and then once we got cleaned up, I just would leave the house by myself for a half an hour and go for a walk. And it just really helped me come home in like a much more calm state of mind.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know how we would have done it if this was the dead of winter.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to find the blessings in the thing, right?
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
there are many. So
Oh, definitely.
yeah. So I guess that's a good segue. So we're talking two sides of the coin always, and this is a lot of our difficulties that we're having and challenges that we're trying to
Yeah.
figure out. But I am asking everyone if you have had a good story or seen something that you would like to share that's uplifting that we can just share with each other.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I would say? I have never had so many fresh cut flowers in vases around my house as I do right now. I can currently see three from where I'm sitting, and just like people wanting to keep other people uplifted and feeling positive and just doing nice things. Like I have had just in this week alone, 3 porch drop offs of flowers where people ring your doorbell and have left a bouquet of flowers on your doorstep. So that's just been like so heartwarming to see. And then I've noticed on social media, some of my other friends as well, like from different people, then had dropped off flowers to me, getting flowers dropped off on their doorstep, or treats,
Yeah.
home baked goodies. And my kids are writing pen pal letters to the neighbors, right? We're just delivering them next door, but they're getting back into that art of like handwriting and answering the questions, and figuring out how to communicate without just that normal technology, and just being able to walk outside and touch and see your friends. And it's kind of neat to see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People are definitely getting more creative, and I think
Yeah,
we are getting back to the basics. So that's really nice.
yeah.
And conversely, as much as we've hated all the social media and everyone attached to their phones, thank goodness for it, because we are able to
Mhm.
stay connected through this thing in a way that we never would have been able to even 10 years ago, you
Yeah,
know? So,
that's right. We do a Zoom meeting every Sunday afternoon with my 87-year-old Opa and Oma, and my aunts and uncles and my cousins. And throughout the meeting, at one time, there might be 15 of us. Like, we have a family of over 40 whenever we gather. So it's nice to see that we're all still keeping connected every Sunday, even though
right.
we can't see each other.
Yeah. Virtual Sunday supper.
Yeah, that's right.
That's excellent. That's really good.
Yeah,
Um,
you need it, because Easter is going to be so different this year.
so different. Yeah, so many things are so different, and all the isolated birthdays that are happening. And um, did I lose you again? Are we back?
Yep, you're back.
Okay, there we go. Yes, Easter will be very different, and isolated birthdays, of course, and isolated time
Yeah,
of a lot of our friends that are having babies too.
that's
And
right.
so
Yeah,
there's things that are generally celebratory are now very
yeah,
isolated. So
yeah.
I do think at the end of this all, there's going to be some great parties and lots of hugging. And I've lost you again.
Oh, I think,
Is it
are you
coming
back
back?
there? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
I bet you
Yeah.
I bet you everyone's using this because it's Sunday
Oh,
time.
yeah, and it's just gets overloaded for sure.
Yeah.
Do you find it really difficult? Like, I said to my husband this morning, like, Sunday morning just feels so different, because normally Sunday morning we're, up early, getting breakfast, everybody get showered and dressed and get your nice clothes on and getting out the door for church on time. And so Sunday has really changed.
Sunday has really changed.
Hmm.
My church has been doing it live on Facebook.
Yeah.
So that's been nice, but I mean, of course, it's still not the same.
No, exactly.
It is such a communal time, and a time of fellowship. So it's hard not having it.
Sorry, I'm sad for what Easter is going to look like. I do think that we'll still manage to have a nice Easter with our children at home, but it's not going to be the same to take Mass out of the equation. And
Hmm.
for us, that's really a huge part of our Easter Sunday. So to lose that, and then to also lose the family dinner, we'll make the best of it for sure. But it's like, to me, in my heart, it feels sad.
Yeah, yeah. There are things, and I think I talked to another friend, and we were talking about a grieving process that people are going through at this time. So, which I didn't look at it that way, but we have lost our way of life, what
Mhm.
our norms, and it is times like this and Easter or birthdays or births and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So I think I need to keep that in mind, that it is grieving. It's not just frustrating and all the
Yeah.
other things, but that grieving piece is a real emotion that needs to be acknowledged, I think. you know
Oh yeah, it totally is. People go through a grieving process with any big change in their life, right? Like, retirement, or loss of a job, or breakdown of a marriage, or any big change like that. There is a grieving process, not only with death. So it
yeah.
is definitely a mourning process for a lot of people.
Hmm. Hmm. But we will make the best of it, and we will get through it, and we will hopefully be stronger at the other end of all this,
Yeah.
and hopefully have different respect for each other and compassion for each other.
Yeah, I think that it would be nice to see some big changes in the world from how things were and to how people move forward from this, right? Like
Yeah.
still keep some of those basics, because it's really uplifting to see some of the statistics about how much cleaner the air is getting, and you know, marine life coming back to popular tourist areas because there's less traffic there, right? Less foot traffic, less boats, those kind of things. So hopefully some of this good that came out of this stays.
Yeah, I agree. So I am also asking people if they have any suggestions or ideas or tips during this time for those people that are going out and having to work and they're sort of in your situation. Do you have any words of wisdom that you want to share?
I think what I've noticed the most is that we need to be respectful of how everybody's feeling. So I might feel comfortable going to work, but some of our employees might not feel as comfortable as I do. So I've noticed that it's really important for me to kind of spend my lunch hour, if somebody needs to talk, to listen.
Right.
And then to try to provide them with some of the calming tips and tools that I've learned. So, you know, letting them know that it's not the end of the world to have to go out to the grocery store, but you have to remember to sanitize your hands. Or we might not be wearing masks at work, but if that makes one employee feel more comfortable, then, you know, I need to encourage that. And of course, you need to wear a mask and gloves if that's your comfort zone, because everyone has a different comfort zone in this, and we need to just be really aware of that and respectful of everybody's boundaries right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a great tip for everywhere we go when we're out walking the dog or going to groceries or whatever, because everybody does have a different view and comfort level with this. So, and yeah, and just take the time and be respectful of the people that are working at the stores as well and what they're trying to do, you know, so they are doing their best they can, you know, in a situation. And I can imagine even the grocers and the till people are just as tired, you know, as the frontline people. So.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The grocery store workers, or any store that's still open right now, that where public is coming in and out, they're just as much a frontline worker right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we need to remember that it's not just medical people, you know. So they're all important and helping us survive this. You know, without them, we wouldn't be getting food, and we need that.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, I think I'll be editing a lot of lags out of this video, so this should be an interesting one. But thank you for your patience through it all.
No problem.
I have tasked everyone just to close this with their favorite dad joke, pun, or anecdote. So if you have that, and if we're not lagged again, I will put you on the spotlight and have you do that. Have I lost you?
You know, I can still hear you. You were
Okay.
frozen a little bit there.
There
So
you
you're
go.
ready for you're ready for my.
Hold on.
So okay.
That sounds better.
So okay. So even though I am not fully working in a healthcare role anymore and no longer teaching science, science jokes are still my favorite. So I have a lot of bad science jokes, a lot of bad physiology jokes. So I'll leave you with this one. Two hydrogen atoms walked into a bar, and one says, "I think I've lost an electron." The other one says, "Are you sure?" And the first one says, "Yes, I'm positive."
Ah, of course. I've missed those, Amber. Well, thank you for that. Educational and funny. All right. Well, I think that's the end of our short interview, lags and all. So thank you for joining me. And for anyone that is watching and would like to see others, you can find them on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook at Anne the RMT, or on my website. And I think that's it for now. Thank you so much, Amber. And until then, everyone be blessed and be a blessing to others. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Anne.
Amber.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And now watch. We will have no more lag.
Right? Now that your video's done, the lights will be.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Oh.